Hello, my name is Bob Proctor. And before you jump to the conclusion that what I am about to share is nonsense, I ask you to open your mind to an idea that could change your life forever. We have long been told that to achieve success, one must work hard and tirelessly. But let me tell you the truth, this is merely a myth. Have you ever noticed that those who work the hardest are often the ones who earn the least? It sounds strange, doesn't it? But stay with me, and you'll understand what I mean. Let's reflect on this for a moment. The belief that relentless hard work is the only path to success is so deeply ingrained in our minds that most people never even question it. I, Bob Proctor, have witnessed this mentality in action for decades. And believe me, the majority who cling to this idea are not achieving the success they dream of. How often have you seen people working from dawn till dusk, endlessly striving, yet living a life full of struggle? I have known many such people. They work without pause, giving their utmost effort, but at the end of each month, they remain burdened by bills, living in rented homes, driving second-hand cars, with little to no vision for their future. Why does this happen? The answer lies in the mistaken belief that hard work alone guarantees success. I remember a sentence I once read in the book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill, which says, "If you believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, you are due for a rude awakening, because that simply isn't true." These words shook me to my core because for many years, I too believed in that notion. Hard work by itself will not get you anywhere. The real secret is how you apply the correct principles, not how many hours you clock in. I have spent my life studying how truly successful people think. Among them, you won't find people exhausting themselves endlessly or living in a state of constant rush without tangible results. I delved deeply into the lives of figures like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and others who changed the world. They were not slaves to labor, they were doing what they loved and applying the right principles. When you engage in work you love, time seems to disappear. Work transforms into joy. And it is this joy that paves the way to genuine success. When you do what you love, you will no longer view work as a burden but as a natural expression of who you are. The key, therefore, is not how many hours you work but the value of the ideas you apply and the clarity of your focus. Once you grasp this truth, your life will begin to transform in extraordinary ways. Let me tell you something else, when you start to live by these principles, your reality will shift before your very eyes. You will realize that money is not something you must chase after, but rather something that follows you when you align with the right ideas. I know this might sound crazy to some, but trust me on this. I lived through it. I moved from a place of deep frustration and hopelessness to a life of success, and it all happened when I stopped focusing on hard work and started concentrating on the ideas and principles that produce real results. Money follows ideas, not effort. The secret lies in being smart about how you use your time and energy. It might sound simple, but it requires a profound change in mindset. It's not about working yourself into the ground, it's about how you think and how you structure your actions. Now, you might be asking yourself, Bob, how do I change that? How do I apply these principles daily? I will tell you that the very first step is to stop believing that suffering is a prerequisite for success. When you let go of that notion, you will unlock an entirely new world of possibilities. I challenge you now to take an honest look at your life and ask yourself a simple question: am I doing what I love? Or am I stuck in a cycle of hard labor, without truly living my passion? The answer to that question will guide you. When you work with passion, the work becomes a pleasure, not a burden. And this is not merely a dreamy idea or motivational speech. It is the reality I have lived myself and which I believe is within your reach as well, if you choose to embrace it. I escaped poverty when I stopped working out of obligation and began applying the correct principles. My life completely transformed. Think about someone like Taylor Swift, who became the highest paid artist last year. What did she do that was so special? She didn't work more hours than other artists. She simply did what she loved and applied the right principles. It's not about sacrificing yourself or exhausting yourself with endless work. It's about finding your true purpose and following the laws of success. I understand that for many people, this idea might sound hard to believe. I truly do. But I can promise you one thing: if you stop focusing solely on hard work and instead focus on what you genuinely love, applying the principles you will learn here, you will witness a profound transformation in your life. It's not a fast path, but it is the right one. Believe me, it will take you much further than you ever imagined. Stop deceiving yourself. Success is not measured by how many hours you work, but by how you use your time, your ideas, and your energy. Hard work alone will not make you wealthy. The right mindset and the correct application of principles are what truly lead to success. When you start living by these principles, success will come naturally to you. Life was not meant to be lived merely in survival mode. It was meant to be lived with purpose, passion, and prosperity. And that is exactly what you can achieve when you change your mindset and follow the right path. Overworking yourself will not bring success. I learned that the hard way. For many years, I believed that success was tied to how much you sacrificed and how hard you worked. But I was completely wrong. The real difference lies not in the amount of physical effort you exert, but in how you apply the right principles and smart strategies to everything you do. If you believe that hard work alone will bring you wealth, you are simply deceiving yourself. Success does not come from blind effort. It comes from the strategic application of ideas, knowledge, and a mindset aligned with prosperity. I have met many people who work endless hours day after day, yet they still struggle to pay their bills. These individuals are trapped in a relentless cycle of effort without a clear direction or understanding of the correct principles for success. The problem is not the work itself, but the absence of clear goals and the lack of knowledge about how to achieve real results. I studied the lives of great achievers like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. I realized they didn't succeed by working more hours than everyone else. They succeeded by applying innovative ideas based on specific success principles. Their success didn't come from physical exhaustion but from working intelligently and using effective strategies. The secret lies in being strategic, in making every effort count for more. It's not about the number of hours you work, but how you use those hours. The difference between someone who burns out and someone who thrives lies in their understanding of how to leverage the right ideas and principles. People like Edison and Ford began with a clear vision of what they wanted to achieve, and they consistently applied the principles that led them to their goals. I know many people fear that if they don't work incessantly, they will fail. But that fear is rooted in the false belief that success is about the quantity of work. I used to believe that lie myself. But I discovered that you can work more hours than anyone else and still not achieve the results you desire. Because hard work alone, without the right strategy, is not enough. Think about it. Have you ever truly reflected on how you are using your time? Are you investing your energy wisely, or are you just busy for the sake of being busy? If you do not yet have a clear strategy, or if you don't know which principles you should be applying, it's time to change that. Working smart doesn't mean working less. It means working with more focus and greater effectiveness. That is the real path to success. It's not about how much you work, but about how you use your time to apply ideas that truly make a difference. Are you ready to start working smarter and stop wasting effort without direction? Are you ready to learn and apply the correct principles that will completely transform your life? When you begin to use the right strategies, the results start to appear naturally. Money and success begin to flow towards you when you act based on solid principles. The key lies in stopping meaningless work and starting to work with clarity and intelligence. I can assure you that if you focus on properly learning and applying the principles of success, you will see your life change in ways you could never have imagined. It is not physical labor that leads to success, but the strategic application of ideas. Once you understand this, success becomes a natural consequence. The key to completely transforming your life is to engage in something you truly love. Believe me, I speak from experience. When you dedicate yourself to something you love, the effort no longer feels like a burden. In fact, you barely notice the passing of time because you are fully immersed in what you are doing. The secret of success is not in working harder, but in doing what you love with passion and purpose. When you start doing that, doors to success open in ways you never thought possible. It may sound simple or even like a cliché, but let me tell you something, I have lived it. For many years, I worked in jobs that did not make me happy. I simply followed what people around me said I should do. The problem is that when you do something you do not love, your energy gets scattered. You become physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. Life begins to feel heavy. And, my friend, that is not how life is meant to be. I have been through that, and I know you have probably felt the same way at some point. When I finally realized I was engaged in work that did not fulfill me, I began to change everything. I started applying the principles I now share with you, and I began to dedicate myself to what I truly loved. It was not easy, but the path was clear. The secret was to find what ignited my passion and focus all my energy on it. The change in my life was profound. Not only did my productivity increase, but my quality of life improved dramatically. I became more creative, more efficient, and naturally, results started to appear. Success arrived, not because I worked longer hours, but because I was doing what I genuinely loved. This is the same secret that great figures like Henry Ford and Thomas Edison understood. They did not achieve greatness through physical hardship, they succeeded by living their passion and applying strategic ideas. That made all the difference. They were doing what set their hearts on fire, and that changed everything. When you love what you do, the notion of work disappears, it becomes a natural extension of who you are. And that is a tremendous force. Now, I invite you to think deeply, what is it that makes you wake up with excitement and joy in the morning? What would you do even if you were not paid, simply because you love it? That is what you must pursue. You no longer have to stay trapped in the belief that success must come through struggle and hardship. The key is to follow what makes your heart race. When you find that, success follows naturally. It is not about how many hours you work, but about how you feel while doing it. Look, for example, at Taylor Swift, one of the highest paid artists in the world, with an annual income of approximately £36 million. She did not achieve her success by working more hours than anyone else. She achieved it by living her passion for music wholeheartedly. By focusing on what she loved, the doors of opportunity opened wide for her. And this did not happen because of painful sacrifice, but because of genuine love for what she did. Now, pause for a moment and reflect, when was the last time you did something purely for the joy of it, without thinking about money or effort? Perhaps you have been away from your true passion for a long time, but now is the time to reconnect with it. And the beautiful truth is that when you find what you truly love to do, abundance and opportunities begin to flow into your life in ways you never imagined. Let me share a little about my personal journey with you. Before I started applying this principle, I was a person who felt completely dissatisfied with my life. I was working in a field that failed to inspire me, and the results I achieved clearly reflected that lack of passion. But everything changed the moment I decided to follow my true passion. From that moment on, not only did my productivity soar, but my happiness and sense of fulfillment also grew tremendously. And the best part was that financial success began to flow naturally, because I was doing what I loved with all my heart. The real transformation did not happen because of the number of hours I worked, but because of the shift in my mindset and my connection with what truly excited me. I know you might be thinking, but Bob, I have bills to pay and a family to support. I completely understand that feeling, and I know how heavy the burden of responsibility can be. But here is the secret: when you begin to apply these principles, when you find what you genuinely love to do and move towards it with purpose, your life will begin to change. It may take some time, but the first step is giving yourself permission to do what you love. And when you pursue it with passion and clear intention, you will discover creative ways to turn that passion into something that sustains you financially. To conclude, I want to leave you with an important reflection: are you doing what you love? If the answer is yes, wonderful. Stay on that path. But if the answer is no, start asking yourself, what could I do that would truly make me happy? The answer to that question will guide you towards the next major step in your life. When you connect with what you truly love, you align yourself with the essence of true success. And remember, it is not hard work alone that will carry you there, it is the love you have for what you do. Now, I want to talk to you about something that could be the turning point in your life, just as it was in mine. True transformation always begins from within. This is one of the greatest lessons I have learned throughout my life. When I first started my journey, I was like so many others, lost, frustrated, and without a clear direction. Even though I was working hard, nothing in my life seemed to improve. Until I realized that the change was not about what I was doing, it was about how I thought and what I believed about myself. I have already told you that hard work alone is not the solution, and this truth runs much deeper. The key lies in changing the way you see yourself. For many years, I believed that success was reserved for a lucky few, but I was completely wrong. Success is not a matter of luck or being in the right place at the right time. Success begins with the image you hold of yourself. When you start to see yourself as someone capable of achieving anything you desire, opportunities will begin to appear naturally, because you are attracting what matches your new inner vision. This concept of mental imagery is absolutely crucial. Let me share something very personal with you. When I first began, I was utterly broke, without hope, and with no confidence in myself. Like many people, I looked at my life and thought there was no way to change my circumstances. But one day, something inside me awakened. I realized that if I kept seeing myself as incapable, nothing would ever change. It was at that moment that I began to work on rebuilding my self-image, believing that I deserved more, that I had something valuable to offer the world. I began to imagine myself as a successful person, someone with a mission, someone who could live a life of happiness and prosperity. This internal transformation was the seed from which all the external changes later blossomed. The change did not happen overnight, but day after day, it grew stronger within me until eventually, my external reality started to reflect my internal evolution. I noticed people began to treat me differently, opportunities began to arise, and most importantly, money started to flow into my life in ways I had never experienced before. That is why I want you to truly understand this: do not wait for your external circumstances to change before you change yourself. Real transformation begins inside you, and the outside world will only mirror what is happening within. Things will only start to change when you truly believe, deep within your heart, that you deserve the life you dream of. If you see yourself as someone who is incapable or unworthy of success, the world around you will treat you accordingly. But when you begin to see yourself as a valuable person, someone who deserves the very best that life has to offer, your reality will start to reflect that belief. I want you to do a simple exercise: take an honest look at your life right now and ask yourself, how do I see myself? If you see yourself as someone who has not yet arrived, as someone who is still struggling, your reality will continue to mirror that. But if you change your perception and start seeing yourself as a successful person, someone who already has everything they need within, you will notice doors beginning to open before you. When you start believing in your true potential, everything around you will start to transform. I say this because I have lived through it myself. I know many people carry fears and doubts about what they are capable of achieving. They ask themselves, what if I fail? Or, what if things don't turn out the way I hope? Let me tell you something: the fear of failure is natural, but you must not let it stop you. Every great success is built upon attempts, mistakes, and learning. What truly matters is what you learn from those mistakes and how you use those lessons to move forward. Do not fear failure, fear not trying at all. I know what it feels like to be doubted, to feel powerless. I have been there. Yet I managed to change my life. The transformation only happened when I changed my mindset. When I began to see myself as someone worthy of success, my actions started to align with that vision. The actions you take today reflect the person you are inside. That is why real change begins within. When you start applying this concept in your life, something magical happens. You start attracting people, situations, and opportunities that match your new vision of yourself. I have seen this happen thousands of times. People who were trapped in a cycle of mediocrity began to see themselves as worthy of more, and from that moment, their lives began to change. You might be thinking now, this all sounds great, but how do I actually change my mindset? The answer is simple: start seeing yourself as someone who has already succeeded. Visualize yourself living the life you desire. Feel it as though it is already real. And most importantly, believe that you deserve it. No matter where you are right now, true change begins when you believe that you can be, do, and have more. This is the power of inner transformation. And when you start living from this belief, you will see that the world around you reshapes itself to match your new vision. Never underestimate the power of the mental image you hold inside you. It is the key to unlocking your true potential and attracting everything you desire. Transform yourself from within, and the outer world will follow. Before I finish, I want you to reflect deeply on the most important message from this video. The key point I want you to take with you is to change your mindset. Success, prosperity, and true transformation all begin when you start seeing yourself as a capable person who is worthy of receiving the best that life can offer. It is not hard work alone, nor exhaustive effort, that brings success. It is your belief in yourself and the inner vision you hold of what you can achieve. This is the secret that people like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and many others discovered. They were not just working harder, they were applying the right principles and, above all, they believed they deserved to achieve more. And you deserve it too. If you felt touched by these words, do not stop here. In the next video, we will climb yet another step on your path of wisdom, so you can become 1% better than you are today. You will learn more, grow more, and most importantly, you will apply that knowledge to transform your life on an even deeper level. I want to sincerely thank you for being here, for being willing to change, and for your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we will continue this beautiful journey together. Until then, take care and stay inspired.